Hi guys, for today's video, I will be teaching you on how to deploy your Dockerized ASP.NET through Azure Container Registry, and we will use also Azure Container Apps for this one for us to see the browser model of it. And in this video, I will tell you and teach you on how to create from the very first start, which is here in Visual Studio, as you can see the screen. And I will also show you on how I will deploy it in Azure for you to have the idea of it. And after that, I will also test it in Postman, which is the live server that we have had already or the one that we deployed. So let's now start at the video. Let's just create a new project here at Visual Studio. And then let's just click this ASP.NET Core Web API, then click on Next. Then we just choose our project name that we want. So in this one, let's just name it as like Doc and Docker. So the location it's up to you, and other options here it is on your personal preferences. So here the framework, it is also personal preference. It's up to you if you want to run the version 8. So and it also has the version 9, but in my case, I do love the version 8 of .NET. So remember, so when you are first starting in your Docker and container support here at Visual Studio, this one is disabled for default. So what you need to do is you should check this one to enable container support. And as you can see, it highlights some new options, which is the container OS, which is Linux and Windows. It is still up to you on what you want to use. So in my case, I'll just use Linux. And for the container build type, I'll just rename it as Docker. Then after that, we'll just create the project. After that, Microsoft Visual Studio will create the project for you. So as you can see, it pops up with this. So let's just close this one. So in this file, it does have the controller, which is the weather forecast on controller. And it also has the weather forecast model in here. And Visual Studio already created the Docker file for you. It has this code for this one, which is it codes and stage the steps. So it already has the Docker ignore when you push this file. So now let's now hop on it. So we will just remain it like this. So but first we should go first to our Azure container. So let's just reload this first. So in this Azure, make sure to have an active subscription before going to create your own resource. So remember to watch the video that I've created for you to claim your free $150 credit if you have the .edu email. So in this case, uh, we can create our first resource, which is container registry. Let's search container registries like that. And then let's just create our container registry, this one. And for the subscription, make sure to choose the active that you've had. And for the resource group, it is up to you. But in my case, I'll create a new one. So let's just name this as medallia.docker. Here you go. And enter the name. It is up to you. Let's just use medallia Docker, or we can just use backend registry. Okay, that's not available. Let's just use the medallia Docker registry. Like that. So the domain name label scope, it is up to you, but for the purpose of the video, I will just remain it unsecure. So the registry domain name is now default. And for the location, it is up to you on where you want the location will be. So in my case, it will be in Southeast Asia because I'm in from Philippines. So for the pricing plan, it has three, which is the basic, standard, and premium. So remember that when you choose the basic, the other options like the networking and the IP of it will not be configurable. So for the sake of the video, it will be just basic. So when I click on next, which is the networking, private access recommended, it is only available for premium pricing plans. So same with the encryption, it should be in premium pricing plan also. So next is the tags, and let's just review and create, and then create on this one. So Let's just wait for the Microsoft Azure to finish the deployment of this one. So this will be just fast in deployment. So as you can see, your deployment is already complete. So don't mind the some of the data that I had in here because I'll also delete the resource that I've created after this video. So now that our resource has already been created, let's just go back to our Visual Studio. And then let's just right click on this one, the backend Docker, and then click on publish. After that, it will pop up with this, what are you publishing today? So let's just choose the Docker Container Registry. Then after that, in the specific target, we'll just use and choose Azure Container Registry. So in my case, the registry, we should connect our account in this one. So add our account for it. So going back in this one, we already authenticated, so it just took a long one. So, but now when you connect your account already that you've used for creating your Azure Container Registry, it will pop up the subscription that you've had, which is the Azure for Students. And as you can see, we already had here the Docker, which is the resource group that we created, and this is the registry that we created. Then after just click on next, and then let's just use Docker desktop. So it will build the container image using Docker desktop, Docker file required. So let's just finish this one, and let's just wait for this uh check to happen, which it means the published profile creation progress has already been created. So let's not. So now let's just close this one. So let's go back to our Azure container, go to our resource. So you can see, we can just go to access key first, and then let's just click on admin user. So don't worry, I'll delete also the some of the the resource that I do have here. So it will be useless if you try it too. So as you can see here in the services, there is no result for the repository. Now we will push the profile that we created. So let's just click on publish. So here a diagnostic log has been written to the following an error has occurred. So Visual Studio needs to require the Docker desktop also be running. So let's just search for Docker desktop and let's run it here at our local. So it is just starting the Docker desktop engine. So now let's try again to publish this one. So it will now go through because the prerequisites that we do have has been done already. So it just need to run the Docker desktop through locally. So now let's just wait for it to publish to an Azure Container Registry. As you can see, some of the application has been pushed. So ayan, as after that, the publish has already been succeeded. So it already has this successfully pushed the image with tag latest. So now we can go to our Azure for us to check, which is in this one, the Docker registry. Let's just reload it. And as you can see here in the repositories, it is not now empty. Because this backend Docker, and this is the latest. And last modified is, which is today, which is 4/21/2025, 9:06 p.m. Now, let's try to go to create another research, which is container apps. And then after here, just click on create and then click on container app. Then after that, just use also the subscription that you use and the resource group. So it will remain as the other Docker so for the purpose of the video, but you can differ it also. So for the container app name, I'll just name this as the container like that. So the deployment source will be remain as container image. And for the region, let's just choose Southeast Asia. We can filter. There you go. Southeast Asia. So container apps environment will be created automatically by Azure. Now, when we go to container, it will detect the metadata container for the name already. And let's use image source Azure Container Registry. And so subscription, it will be the same, which is Azure for Students, because that is what we've used in the Azure Container Registry. So in the registry, let's just choose this one. And for the image, which is this block and Docker, and for the tag will be the latest. So all of this is in the container registry that we've created. So the deployment stack, we can choose .NET. And for the workload profile, it is now up to us on how do we want to how do we want the CPU and memory to be allocated for the resource. So for the environment variables, so if you do have some environment variables like backend endpoint or other external endpoint, you can put it in here. So now let's go to ingress. Let's make sure to enable this one. And for the purpose of the video, let's just accept traffic from anywhere. So, but it is still personal preference. And then for the transport, it will be just the same auto. And now let's go to tags. Nothing to worry about in here. Let's just review and create. So now it is running and it's still validating by Azure for us to before creating the container app. So as of now that we are waiting, we can also open now Postman for the meantime. So let's go back to container app because it is already validated. So now let's create. So it will initialize a deployment for this one. So let's just wait again for the resource to be created by Azure. So I will be skipping in this part of the video for you to save time in watching this. So now that our deployment is already complete, it does take a while on deploying that one. It created some new resources automatically. So but now, so you can see it here in the deployment detail, it has this one. Now let's just go to resource after that. And then the application URL will be this one. So let's just copy and try to test it in our file. So as you can see, it does have this error, but no web page found for the web address. I think let's just call on Swagger if we do have that one. So I guess it doesn't. So let's just call the API that we have, weather forecast, like that. So as you can see here in pretty print, it does return this data. So now let's try to call this one in our Postman for you to check it out also. So this is the URL created. So let's just use get and then make sure that the headers already has this accept. And then when you see it, it is now working. So I think that's all for creating all of this. So from the from Visual Studio, from the start to deploying and publishing some profile to Azure, and then testing here it at Postman. So I hope this video helped you in learning about Azure. So I think that's all for the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment if you need help. I will be in touch with you. So that's all for the video. Thank you for watching.